Welcome back to your channel. My name is Brad, and today we're going to talk about, does MSTR break the Nasdaq? And first thing is going to be, what is this guy talking about? So if you don't know, today is the day. Most people don't know. So end of November, last trading day, the Nasdaq looks at all the different companies and they will restructure based on today's market cap. And guess what? MSTR trades on the Nasdaq, but is not part of the Nasdaq 100 until now. So what's going to happen? So they're sitting approximately number 42 out of 100. So guess who's probably getting into the Nasdaq 100, which means QQQ, QQQM, QYLD, QQQI, IQQQ will now all have to own MSTR. So just to give you a thought of how big this actually is, QQQ, QQQM, and QYLD, just those three funds ranked exactly where they are, has to buy $2 billion of MSTR. What do you think is going to happen to price? What do you think will happen to the volatility of QQQ or the Nasdaq? Let's talk about QDTE. QDTE is now going to be trading off of the volatility or part of the volatility of MicroStrategy. So this affects everything and everyone. I don't think most people see it coming. Probably right around December 14th, you're going to start seeing YouTubers talking about this. But you heard it here first. So December 14th will be the day that they actually announce who is going to be on the Nasdaq 100. December 20th will be the first day of trading. So between now, the 14th, it's all speculation. 14th to the 20th, now you have to have everybody starting to look to buy MSTR. If you're not playing Misty or MSTU or MSTX or MSTR, you're going to start playing it, like it or not. For the average person, if they only hold QQQ, if you have the 3 Qs, and that is your only holding, you now have exposure of 0.2 Bitcoin. That's correct. No other option. You now have direct exposure to Bitcoin. There's other treasuries, and there's a lot of them. Microsoft this coming month will make a decision about putting it onto their books. It's all happening, like it or not. Square has it on their books. MicroStrategy has it on their books. Tesla has it on their books. It's going to increase the volatility of the markets. For income investors, that might be a good thing. For income investors, that might be a bad thing. One of the two. Because price of Bitcoin goes up, the market goes up. Price of Bitcoin goes down, the market could go down. So now you have to start weighing out how much exposure do you actually want to Bitcoin, because it's all in these companies, and you might be getting that 1 to 5% exposure to Bitcoin without even knowing about it. And that's the problem, and that's the reason for the video, is you got to start measuring your actual exposure to Bitcoin so you don't get caught up with overexposure. I'm retired. I think 1% just fine for me. I might think I have a little bit higher risk tolerance than most people because I did make my money off of BITO. So I have definitely a higher risk tolerance than others. But you're going to have to make a risk tolerance decision. You need to start doing your research of how much Bitcoin exposure do you want, direct and indirect. Not financial advice, not legal advice. But at the end of the day, you're going to get Bitcoin exposure, like it or not, if you hold any of the queues or anything that trades on the queues or anything that trades on the Nasdaq, like QDTE. All this is going to have some type of Bitcoin exposure or Bitcoin volatility exposure or leveraged Bitcoin exposure. It's all coming, and just be prepared. That's all I'm saying. You just need to be prepared. Me personally, I'm staying with Misty. I did do that little trade on MSTU and almost doubled my money. That was just a couple $1,000s. I did not put $1 million in it, which you almost want to beat your head against the wall saying, you know, if I put $1 million in it, I could have walked away with almost $1 million in a week. But I don't have that much risk in my life at this time period. Now, if I was 20-something, I might have put a little more risks to it, but you don't want to put a whole lot of risk into this. You can make a lot of money, and you could lose a lot of money. And I'm just trying to tell everybody, manage your risk. It's coming, like it or not. And there are some people in the group that do not like Bitcoin, and I fully get it. I went out to dinner this week before Thanksgiving with some friends. He was a very, very non-Bitcoin person, but all he wanted to do was talk about Bitcoin because he now has exposure to it, and he's realizing that this has creeped into his life, like it or not. And that's going to be the factors. You're going to have to realize that this is coming, good or bad. I would say good. I will say that I will try not to get over 5%, maybe a little bit more, probably a little bit more exposure. So again, QQQ, if that's all you hold, you're going to get a 0.2 exposure. Manage how much Bitcoin that you actually have in your account. And this is all, again, hypothetical until December 14th when it gets announced. So right now, MicroStrategy is sitting right around 40th. So that means they're going to get about 0.55 of the queues. And you're going to have everybody having to buy MicroStrategy before December 20th so they can balance out all their funds. It's a very interesting process. There's a lot of BlackRock funds that are now holding IBIT. So that's another one. How much of BlackRock, how many of their funds are holding IBIT? You don't want to find out that you have 10, 15% exposure to Bitcoin before it's too late. Keep it at a reasonable amount and make money. Misty. I still love Misty. Who doesn't love Misty? But is Misty a long-term play? I know that I'm going to get my money back, and as soon as I have 100% of my money back, I will rebalance that and then let it ride. Maybe I could have retired off of Misty and not even thought about it. But in retirement, I have to manage my risk. And some younger people have been making comments. They're not retired. They're probably still living in their mom's basement by the comments that they make. I'm just saying, they can handle a lot more risk than I can handle because I have another 30 years without a JOB. At least I hope I have another 30 years. But you'll be along for the ride. 30-year-old YouTube channel. Oh, isn't that going to be amazing that you'll be able to watch? And say hi to Frosty, and hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you tomorrow. God bless.